Welcome back, guys. What's going on? Waiting for YouTube to catch up here. Back on track for daily streams today. Thursday, kicking it off. Took a been away for a few days for that holiday Christmas break. It's so hard to do these when I'm traveling, so it's nice to be back. A ton of stuff to cover. I know the day started off pretty slow with Bitcoin consolidating, just the flow of how this is kind of going to go. Obviously, you guys that are with me every single day understand this, but for those people that are watching new, whether you're joining in from Twitter or from the Discord, typically I'm going to cover Bitcoin first, right? Reviewing what we looked at this morning with that consolidation pattern and how it's played out and kind of my view now. Where I'm looking at and kind of expecting price to go if we do hang below and stay below 36.20, kind of what I'm targeting below. I'm going to look at how I'm coming up with that. After that, the new trade idea that I'm kind of excited about, it's just kind of continuing to grab my attention here, and this is Bitcoin Cash. Those that I share this on Twitter as well, but those that played along and we covered this in the stream last week, right? Last trade here was up to 0.05. Honestly, I thought I was getting out early. Turned out to be a really nice trade. So I think it's a weird inflection point right now where alts and Bitcoin are either giving an opportunity to buy. I really don't want to buy Bitcoin, but this is one counter trend trade that I am looking at that is interesting me. So I want to walk through that. What I'm thinking there, why I'm kind of thinking that. Once again, not a signal or advice to do that. Just kind of want to walk through my thought process there, and then we'll cover any other alts as well. I was looking at ETH yesterday. Definitely a lot less excited about ETH. Walk through that last trade as well. Right, last time I was streaming was Friday before I left, so that was almost a full week ago. And we were having ADA, Bitcoin Cash, ETH. Everything moved for like a 20% gain. And it's crazy how things change 7 days later. So we're going to look at all the kind of a macro alt update, everything I'm looking at there. But first, let's kick it off with Bitcoin. And then after I cover everything, happy to answer questions, any coin requests or things like that you want me to look at. But do kind of save that for the end. Helps me stay organized and get through this. And I'll get through as many as I can. I like to keep these short, sweet at 30 minutes. Hopefully everyone's doing all right. Little crowd in here. What's up, Rafty? Yuri, Jason, Andy, what's going on, guys? Like I said, I do these every single day with the smaller group. But once a month, we've done this for the last couple of months. It's nice to open it up for transparency and just to get some new ideas out there, some new people in there, and kind of just share what I'm looking at. Hopefully it helps. Regardless whether you're coming from Twitter, like I said, or Discord. So let's get into it. Bitcoin this morning, what I was watching, and what's up, Jeremiah? And I didn't get to trade this over Christmas, right? So zooming out a little bit and getting back to just kind of the normal view of how we were looking at this before Christmas, or kind of before, I guess, the break, and how I was looking at it this morning as well, how we kind of transitioned, right? We had the massive Christmas dump, just a really brief review, the massive Christmas dump, up from the 4Ks, 4100s. I see a lot of people on Twitter talking about how they're short from 4K, 4100. Hell of a trade if you are. Like I said, I was just away from my computer, so I got nothing up there. This is kind of what I started playing with, right? I get back to my desk last night. So this morning, and we've been updating, I've been updating this in the group and sharing my thoughts. So we went into today, if I'm looking at this as a range, right? Price being 3,600 to 4,100, where we were at the end of November, where we bounced back into mid-December, right? This is kind of that range that we're playing in, right? So before I left, the trade for me, right? Trade that we walked through, buying the dip and wanting to ride to the top of the range, right? Nice little 10% trade there. Worked out pretty nice. Obviously, it would have been early if we continued on, but as long as we were inside of the range, I'm gonna kind of respect the range. It's something I like to say, right? That's what we're in right now. That's the market structure we're in, so I'm gonna respect the range. I'm going to get to where we are now because it looks like we're breaking down out of it. Anyways, fast forward to this morning and kind of how I'm viewing price. So many different ways to draw this, guys. So just because I'm viewing it like this doesn't mean you have to, but this is how I'm kind of visualizing it, how I was viewing it this morning. after that dump for the past 48 hours, especially today, we were really trading kind of a tight range, 1 or 2%, between 36.70 or 36.80 up to about 38.80. Right. The key thing for me before we even get into this consolidation is that all of a sudden now this mid-range level, which is a pivot, right? When we're above it in kind of the top half of the range, I expect it to act as support, right? A nice dip buying opportunity. When we're back below it, right? When we're above it, I'm viewing all these kind of as dips until we close below, and then you can see it really quickly shift and turn into resistance here, right? So that's kind of the first thing I noticed this morning, first thing I kind of wanted to write down or keep in my mind, right? We're back below mid-range. That's acting as a pivot resistance, right? So keeping that in mind for longs. Second thing I like to check off my list, and I'm adding, just kind of reviewing my stats on how I traded this last month. I really, if I am day trading Bitcoin, I think this is huge, whether you actually use this for entries or exits, but understanding where the daily opened and usually wanting to trade with the daily open. What I mean by that is if we're below the daily open, typically I'm going to be looking for shorts. If we're above the daily open, typically I'm going to be looking for longs. Right? My hit rate is just up massively if I'm trading with the daily open versus trading against it. I mean, it's just kind of clear as day. So that's the other thing. We were below the daily open all of today, or this morning, I should say, when things were quite boring, right? And this is kind of how I was looking at price, or this is really kind of the best way for me to visualize it. Let me get the mid-range level out of here, right? Just using these two trend lines. You could use horizontals, whatever you want to use, but we were consolidating in between, kind of trading in a tighter range with no clear direction, right? That's all I mean by that if you're not keeping up. So what that meant for me, I know a lot of people want to buy the dip, or it's really easy to kind of get in that mind frame of prices hanging out. Maybe it's at support, lower half of the range. I want to rip it up to the top, right? When we're in here, I would way rather kind of wait it out and let Bitcoin show its hand, right? Or kind of let Bitcoin make that first move, let it dictate where we're going to go, and then I'll kind of get in if I see fit, right? So we break down out of this consolidation pattern, right? This is the consolidation pattern. Here's the breakdown. Now all of a sudden we have a 4-hour close below the range that we've been trading in, right? Bottom 3,600. Right, so not only was it a continuation breakdown out of this consolidation, now we have a close below this range. How I'm viewing this level, the same way it was support and has been support when I'm respecting the range, right? It's also been used as resistance once we're back below. So let me highlight that. Right, you can see when we break below, right, first retest, resistance again, and then right when we come back up, it's used as support. So now that we're back below, I'm still kind of not interested in longs for Bitcoin. Yes, it would be an incredible level, especially if the daily can somehow save 36.30, 36.20, and we close back in. Obviously, this would be a good buy. But since we're still trading below daily open, this continued downward, higher time frame is down, low time frame is down, and now I'm expecting this level, just based on how we've broken through last time, and this acts as resistance before we move lower, right? That's kind of what I'm looking for here, right? So this is immediate resistance. That's what I'm going to call that, right? And this is going to be 36.20, right? If price is able to kind of save the daily here, that's excellent, right? And then all of a sudden I'm treating it like a range again, playing the range again, and this would be a good buy. But for right now, I'm not taking that risk. So 4-hour close below, to me, Bitcoin looks quite weak, quite ugly. What I'm targeting based on that, just looking at previous swing lows that we've moved to, as we kind of broke down from this range the previous two times, right? That's going to be around 34.20 and around 32.80, right? It's kind of my support 1 and 2. These are rough targets of where I would expect price to move to if we can't reclaim this by daily close tonight, right? That's in about 2 hours. So unless price gives us one of these, we can reclaim this as support and start to move up, or at least even hang in here, right? Especially if we kind of close daily below, I'm thinking we drift down to these levels. So I'm aiming for right here, 34.20. Second level is going to be down here, 32.81. Right? previous swing lows, previous supports, whatever you're going to call them in the past, that's kind of what I'm looking to. That's where I'm expecting price to move if daily closes below here. And so however you want to play that, whether you're hedged, whether you're looking for a short retest off here, however you want to play that, right? I also think it's fine to kind of wait for daily close. That's what I prefer to do. But however you want to play that, that's how I'm looking at it. I'm not interested in the long yet. The one way that I am interested in now kind of reviewing 7 days ago how things looked with Bitcoin moving up in the range, right? We had ADA, we had ETH, we had everything moving almost 20%. Dimitri, I'll cover that in a second. So getting this out of here, right? Trade idea from Twitter and from the free group, put this at a few different places, right? ADA originally, this is Friday of last week, moving back above this resistance, right? ADA gives us 20% pop. We have ETH from last week when Bitcoin was moving up. That one also gave a little 20% pop. And so we played ETH from the group, right? Aiming for kind of that 0.033, right? We got the 0.033, right? So everything in Bitcoin Cash is kind of the last one, looking at how that one worked out. Right, that one's from Twitter, aiming for 0.05. As Bitcoin moved up to the top of the range, obviously all the alts did as well. Now as Bitcoin sinks back to the bottom of the range and maybe breaks through, we're seeing ETH, ADA, Bitcoin Cash, and everything fall. The one kind of counter trend opportunity that I do think is interesting, and I want it to be clear, this is counter trend, right? Things are clearly moving down with Bitcoin. Correlation is still very high as Bitcoin moves down, especially if Bitcoin moves down to kind of those targets that I'm expecting. I think these majors continue to get hurt, but they have had a chance to reset, right? They have had a chance to kind of finally now get a little bit of a pullback after, Bitcoin Cash had an insane rip. Most of them moved, the 20, 30, 40% pop. Bitcoin Cash did something insane. So now at least a lot of them have had a chance to reset. For the first time since last week, this is kind of the one counter trend or dip buying opportunity that I like. Show you why I'm looking at that, how I'm looking at it. Right, this is kind of the range or last little call. You could also call this a consolidation before we broke down for the last time with Bitcoin Cash. Right, top of the range up here at 0.05. That's the target from the last trade, and then we have the support down here at 0.041. Right, so if we look at now that we've had this insane pop of Bitcoin Cash, we get a pullback. Look where we pull back to. Right, bottom of the range, or where we found support on the way down. So that's 0.041. That's kind of the current support touch. Immediate resistance up, or next high time frame resistance up, is about 20, 30% higher at 0.05. The other thing that I've been looking at, this little trend line here, right? Just connecting this, extending. That's not what I wanted. My trend line's acting up. I extended the wrong side. All right. Here, extending that through, right? Previous resistance turns support flip, right? And that's a nice confluence here, both with, like I just said, the 0.041 range support, and then we also have this resistance support trendline flip. Right, that's that nice little confluence. I just pointed out on Twitter, and I said I would cover it in here in depth. Obviously, I also break it down with kind of a chart and explain more of my idea. But the one reason I do like this is because if you are short Bitcoin already, like if you were trading over Christmas break, or if you're short Bitcoin right now in this breakdown, whatever it is, I imagine most people are probably hedging or short. I do think this is kind of a way to, I guess, hedge your shorts. And I think it's, from a risk-reward opportunity, in that confluence, I like it a lot. It makes sense to me. It's just a coin that, for the past month, the levels, I just kind of have to trust how they've been playing. Right, so however tight I want to play this, right now I'm kind of looking at something like this. Right, my entries from about really kind of right at the current rate, 0.0416. It's a little bit sloppy. I wanted 0.0414. But that's my entry, at least targeting 0.05, right? Top of the range. Obviously, I want something higher up in the 0.07 range, but for now, that's kind of the first target I'm looking at. The way that I would cut this is all of a sudden, if we do get a daily close below this horizontal support, if we do get a daily close or any kind of close 4 hour below this trend line, right, or if we kind of have this, I would even place a hard stop probably in the 6 or 7% area, right? If all of a sudden we do get a wick down, that's fine. That's kind of the risk I'm fine taking here. Right, so that's what I'm looking at with Bitcoin Cash. I think that's an interesting opportunity. I know some people in here won't trade Bitcoin Cash. Some people on Twitter don't like to trade Bitcoin Cash. For whatever reason, this has been one of the best assets to trade for me this month. I know for a lot of you guys that have, when we originally shorted it, I was actually from back here, right, 0.041, the beginning of the month. So it's been my favorite coin to trade. It's the coin I've had the most success with this month. It's incredibly volatile. And I think it's a kind of a nice way to play off of if you are bearish Bitcoin, if you are, hedging or already short. I think this long is at least worth a look, right? So I just want to kind of walk through what I'm seeing there. The ETH play that I was considering yesterday, obviously this retest failed, right? So it looks like we're only going to get one long out of ETH. What I was looking for with ETH, right? This was the swing high. Here's the last trade. Right. From last week. All right, snag the 20% win. And what I was thinking was, once we're able to close above these swing highs, right, I was hoping we could get a retest here and continue our move up. Obviously, Bitcoin kind of ruined those plans, right? So this trade is out the window unless, somehow the daily is saved. I don't like the look of ETH anymore. I'm playing Bitcoin Cash as kind of my one counter trade opportunity there. So that's Bitcoin Cash. That's ETH update. I wish the second trade would have worked out. ETH isn't going to be so good to me 2 times in a row. What else did I kind of want to cover? That's really it, guys. Honestly, just today, my first day back at my desk, I kind of really wanted to focus on the majors in Bitcoin, especially when Bitcoin's moving down like this. I think there is opportunity with Binance alts. The one thing I'm noticing, and I think everyone else is probably noticing this as well with Binance alts, is most of them aren't making new lows, right? So like most of them aren't that September low that's been marked. It's not like, each time Bitcoin kind of drops back down to low 35s or low 3Ks, it's not like they're making new lows. And I'm talking about Binance alts here, right? So I walked through a couple of those. They're available to everyone that's in the Discord, right? But if you look at where most Binance coins have bottomed out, either it's end of August or mid-September, right? I call that kind of a cycle low. A lot of them are at least still holding that cycle low or kind of right at it, right? So I do think there's some interesting plays there. I'm just still not attacking those or being too active with the Binance alts. The majors are more liquid. You're able to trade them both directions, and I'm kind of focused on Bitcoin trading as well. The time will come to swing alts. The time will come where the focus is almost entirely on alts. For me, it's not here yet. Whether it's a correlation rise with Bitcoin, whether it's a risk appetite increase with Bitcoin, that's going to kind of drive that for the Binance alts. Right? There's a few that I looked at today. We'll cover them in the Discord if you do have questions. But anyways, guys, that's what I'm looking at. Right? So daily close is going to give us a big hint here in the next 2 hours. 2 scenarios that I'm looking out for are kind of what I'm thinking. Right after this, continuation downward, close outside of the range. Right, looking for this to become resistance. And I showed you those 2 areas I'm kind of targeting below as we drift lower. If somehow Bitcoin saves the daily, right? And what I mean by that is somehow it kind of climbs back above this 3620 level, continue to play in the range. That's a little bit of a bearish fake out. The other kind of driver for Bitcoin, or last thing I'm going to leave you with, is something I shared on Twitter. And some of you guys might think this is noise. Some might, use it as kind of a helpful data point. Futures are expiring tomorrow for BitMEX, December futures. This is where the last expiration was last month. It was on December 16th, end of the day. Right here. So sometimes, really, we've seen this with CME and CBOE, and it's strange. It shouldn't have this effect. Open interest isn't that much. But that has led to either price being suppressed right there or price being able to pop right after. Right? It's not 100% of the time, but there has been kind of, if you look at the correlation, if you look at the numbers, and there's still not a lot of data points, but that has happened kind of more frequently than not. I haven't seen it too much with the BitMEX study, but it is something I'm going to put on my chart and kind of watch for. Another way to look at it, even looking at the Bitcoin trade last week, 10%. Another way to look at why I think the futures expiration for December is important tomorrow. That day that futures expired on December 16th are the same day that June futures opened, right? About 2 weeks ago. And I mean, things just took off almost 25% kind of right off the bat, right? So that doesn't mean it's going to happen again. It could have been a coincidence, could be correlation, doesn't mean it's causation. But I think it is an interesting data point. I think tomorrow we're going to have a lot more volatility again. I think it's going to be a nice day to trade again. So I know we're a little bit bored this morning. I wanted to wait until this played out. Definitely didn't want to get caught buying under mid-range and when this could continue bearish. For now, as long as we're below 36.20, I'm bearish, aiming for those two levels I picked out. And Bitcoin Cash is kind of my one counter trade opportunity, or kind of the one alt that I like taking a chance on right now. Right? Hopefully I explained why, both because range support and because of this nice trendline confluence. Right? So that's what I'm looking at, guys. Now let's take some questions. I know some people really want to dig into Binance alts. It's just kind of not on my radar, not on my focus right now. There are one or two. There's one that I'll share with the group or share for everyone in the Discord. But like I said, it's just not my focus. All right, what do we got questions wise? How's everyone doing? Ricky, weird question. Do you talk about Bitcoin every day as a day trade or short-term profit? Whereas long-term, it's still in a downtrend. You don't need a narrative every day, not a dig. Ricky, I mean, I consider both, right? In these streams, since I do them every single day, the same way on Twitter and kind of everywhere else, right? I'm looking for trading opportunities every single day. So a lot of the times I don't think you really need a narrative, but I am constantly looking at drivers in the market, whether or not risk appetite's increasing or not, and really just kind of taking it level by level. Yeah. Macro, we're still 100% in a downtrend, still a bear market, still no higher highs, right? Everyone has that kind of hopium-induced inverted head and shoulders. Sure, it could work out, right? Everyone's kind of drawing that on their chart, but there's no way to say that, intraday, even a small little bounce makes us all of a sudden bullish. Ricky, so yeah, I cover short-term and long-term, man. Just like on Twitter. Tarek, yeah, I can take a look at Loom. Really nothing new, Tarek. So we talked about this last week. This is still kind of two ways I'm viewing Loom. And it's going to resemble how I played it in September. I don't want to sound like a broken record because I know some people watched it. My last stream when we talked about Loom. So I'm going to kind of move quick on this one. Right. But if we look, I can't get those blue squiggles out of there. If we look at how I kind of played Loom last September, right? Did not buy down here. This is exactly when majors and Tron, ADA, and everything started to move back September. I call that the September low, right? Cycle low. That's when majors got their move first. That's when ETH, Ripple, everything started moving first. That was September. It's an important date. I would mark it on every single alt chart you have, right? So I didn't buy that there. I kind of wanted to ride ADA and Tron like I like to focus right now. I'm usually focusing on majors and Bitcoin until I kind of see a window to trade alts. When Bitcoin's trending down or when it's back and forth like that, I'm usually not focused on Binance coins, right? Liquidity reasons, and the majors are kind of just tradable intraday. Anyways, last month or September, how I played this, I waited until this resistance was broken, and this is kind of still how I'm viewing Loom, right? So we have the first resistance that I think is worth looking at, and that's 1450 sats, right? So last time I played it, waited for that break, and then start targeting these highs, right? 27% up, 50% up, right? Just looking at first high time frame resistances, whether it's previous support turn resistance, whether it's a swing high, right? That's kind of that's how I played it last time. So that would look something like this, Tarek, waiting for this to be broken, and then riding it up, targeting the exact same swing highs, right? For the 50% play. There is kind of the riskier earlier entry, and this is what I alluded to earlier And I'm sure a lot of people have noticed this with their Binance alts, right? They aren't taking as much of a hit now. I'm not saying they can't go lower. They definitely could go lower. But a lot of Binance alts, for some reason or another, maybe there just aren't any sellers left. Who knows? Maybe they're accumulating, whatever it is. It looks like they're still holding September lows if we look back there, right? And the low we just had at end of November, right? So, if you weren't going to kind of play it the safer way, or kind of how I'm still viewing it, right? Waiting for a break of 1450 and then riding it up, I think the riskier, more aggressive, but it could be more profitable, right? If you're right, entry is down here around these kind of September 12th lows or cycle lows. This support that we have here, aiming for first high time frame resistance, 20% up, 30% up. And then the other two targets remain the exact same, right? Either way, whether you play it up here or whether you play it down here, if these cycle lows are broken, like I'm viewing every other Binance alt, if these cycle lows are broken, right, I'm kind of expecting new lows for alts. Most of them haven't given us that, right? And, obviously it could always kind of give you that wick or that fake out and come back. But that's just kind of the game with alts right now. So right now they're still holding on to cycle lows. Could be maybe the best time you're going to get to buy them. I don't believe that yet, right? I'd rather be patient. I'd rather play kind of the safer approach there. I really look for windows of like 5 or 7 days or whatever it is that I can swing alts. And usually that involves Bitcoin being able to move up or Bitcoin being able to stabilize, and that's just kind of not what I see right now. Right, so still more focused on majors. Yeah, Trek. Hopefully that makes sense. Just nothing new. Most alts kind of retrace. I know we were looking at Request. We were looking at QSP. Right. Request got the pop. Quantstamp got the pop. All these are the exact same. Right. Still respecting September 12th lows. Right. Request gave a 18-20% pop, and now it's right back kind of at September lows are a little bit lower with this one. Yeah. Andy, Luke, you out of your Binance coins for now? No, I'm in a few Binance coins. Andy, the 1 to 3 plays, they're in the Discord. I'm just not active with them, right? Like, I don't see, like, even if you're trying to trade like a moderate position, even if you aren't trading a full Bitcoin position, right? And you're looking at an alt play, even if it's a half Bitcoin or something, liquidity is so scared in a lot of these alts when Bitcoin starts to move down, and it's just kind of not really the market that I want to be like day trading or intraday trading on Binance right now. Right, volume on so many coins is just so low, and it can just disappear in kind of a snap of your fingers. It's like even if volume looks good, if you actually look at the book and try to sell, even sell a Bitcoin, right, it's kind of tough. So I'm not active with them right now. I still am looking at them. Right, any kind of setup that resembles this is holding September lows, I think, is interesting. Another one that I was just looking at today was POE. POE, not POA. Right, kind of exact same framework of holding September lows. Right, they're all kind of forming this range, and it's strange that they've all held, low formed in August, maybe a slightly lower low formed in September, and now they're playing in this range. Right, range support for the past 2 or 3 months. And then we have the swing highs in mid-October, end of October, right? And all these are kind of forming, what is that, like a 50% range, right? So a lot of, in my opinion, kind of, there are attractive risk-reward setups. I just don't want to be too active with them yet, right? That's kind of how I'm looking at them. It all follow the same framework. It's a macro thing. It's not anything too specific about any one of them. Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah. Ricky, I'm with you. I am with you. Anyways, guys, that's 30 minutes. I want to keep it short so those that watch this later can keep up. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully that did help. I wanted to explain that Bitcoin Cash idea. Also wanted to look at Bitcoin. I know a few people kind of held back from buying after we covered that this morning and covered the consolidation. So I'm always happy when that works out. And yeah, I hate to be bearish at 35 or at 36, but price action it's not exciting for a buy, right? Like I said, unless we somehow save the daily, and get back above 36.20. Even then, I think things are a little bit sketchy, right? Tomorrow, I think, is going to be an interesting day with expiration. I'm kind of waiting for a big trade then, or to see if something really jumps out at me. Right? Last week was nice with the swing longs. I don't want to kind of churn my account trying to chase something if it's not there. So, anyways, guys, that's what I'm seeing. Hopefully that helped. And have a good rest of your day. If you want to watch this, join the free Discord. Link is in the description below. I'm going to have all these videos and everything up for probably another 24 hours, and then we'll go back to how it normally works. So that's all I got. I will see you guys in the group. See you on Twitter. Have a nice Thursday. I'll see you tomorrow.